Okay, looks like we're live again. Hopefully this works out okay. So what you see right now is, you see a couple gloopy gloppy figures, but you see one gorgeous looking butt. And I tell you what, I spent almost an hour making this butt and listening to videos and doing a sort of little art lesson while talking about and listening about Sigma males. However, my audio equipment is still not quite well set up, and I think I finally got it to where it is. But basically, I had a video where I was just talking to dead air while drawing a butt, and it might already seem a little bit strange to be drawing butts while listening to videos, but hey, if it seems like I'm a schizophrenic just talking to the air, even worse. So I'm digging deep as a sort of introspective person. I'm digging deep into butts, and I'm also digging deep into male personality traits, because I want to discover myself. I want to know what kind of ding-dong boy I am, and I want to know what kind of butts you like. So if you like this content, like and subscribe. I think one follower right now. It might be my mom, it might be my partner, I don't know, but right now I don't think I have anybody following me that doesn't have some sort of intimate, close relationship with me. I am an artist. I like philosophy. I like to talk about things, all sorts of different topics. I like to learn more about thinking. Yeah, I like to dig into philosophy, as I said already. I, of course, enjoy art. I am also a designer. I enjoy politics as well, although I don't know if I'm going to be joining that larger community of debaters and annoying people, but who knows. Maybe if I can draw during the sessions, maybe I could get through that, something like that. But let's get to the point. I'm going to try to redraw some butts, and I'm going to basically talk a little bit about drawing butts and the setup for drawing butts. I'll start a new file for that. And then I'm going to put on a video just sort of categorizing the different types of males, because honestly, I watched this one video. I learned that there's more than just like your alpha, your beta, and your sigma, which I think I have a high probability of being. Let's be honest here. So I'm doing everything in Procreate iPad. One thing I like to do is sort of create a ground color, just be a little classy, and then let's sort of first thing you're going to do if you're sort of like working on sort of any sort of figurative work. What I like to do usually is you define the head, usually like an oval like this. Boop, boop. You might do like one of these doohickeys where you're sort of doing a cross section where you see the eyes and the nose, sort of where to put all that good stuff. Bump, bump, bump. Maybe your mouth, maybe your ears over here, and that's all great. That's all fine and good, but what I think really defines the larger figure as far as like next steps, aside from just like showing where the top of the body is going to be, is sort of defining the spine, because the torso is kind of complex. It's got a lot of moving parts coming off of it, a lot of angles, a lot, and the spine is like very complicated with how it kind of moves. So what I would normally do is you just sort of shape some sort of line that reflects that flex of whatever that the body's going to do. And depending upon how that spine is working, you'll have different kinds of postures, which will then set up like different kinds of positions for how you're going to draw the rest of the body, right? So the spine kind of dictates kind of where the rest of the body is going to hang from. This is very like flexible set of bones and muscles, and since I'm doing a butt, kind of important to understand how the spine's working. That's kind of the backbone of my drawing. So I'm actually probably not going to do much of a headpiece here, since I'm focusing on the butt. But oh, get out of here. You know what? Be gone with you. But since I'm, want to at least define just broadly the shape here and where this is, how big this is going to be, I'm going to sort of do this. It sort of dictates the back of the skull, and I'm going to do a line for where I think that, it's going to be a bit bent over for this one. And sort of doing this line kind of dictates, helps dictate where the, like I said before, how the neck might attach. I'm going a little darker than I might normally. How that attaches, where the shoulders might be, the stomach, the hips. And I did this in the last one, but I'm going to do this in this one too. We're going to do a juicy booty. I made this a little bit big, but get some room for that butt. So it's like the tailbone kind of right around here. But I want to do a usually man butts aren't as big. They don't usually come off of the hips. Like this one is right here. So this one's, sort of doing this more like a lady. The sort of skeleton frame to have the extra hip that will support and sort of build all that extra meat off of it. I'm sort of going to define the shoulders a little bit here. I'll even maybe define a little breast tissue and belly. And, I'm going to reestablish that back going through here as well. I think I lost a little bit as I got rid of some of that. Erase. And this head's not proportioned, but I'm just going to make it like a knob. You do a knobby head. And no arm on the side, because I just like seeing the head protrude a little bit. One great thing I love about drawing is things change over time, and you kind of do what you want. You can draw what you want, include what you want, and not what you don't. You can see also part of this is I sort of established the booty. I can also start kind of, the thigh kind of comes off of that. You can imagine the knees here. Maybe I could, it's all kind of imagining a series of like cylinders and shapes that are kind of simplified, and also imagining how that kind of flesh kind of bumps into things, smushes, compresses, pulls and compresses against the different parts. So here I am kind of going to draw I don't know if I want to draw a foot. I could draw out like a foreshortened foot here. Sort of, start drawing the shapes out for that as well. Maybe I'll leave a foot. Maybe I'll draw an arm here. Yep, here comes the arm. A big old turd. That's fun. I think it's a good start. So this is just a little rough sketch of that area. And now I'm going to really get to work. I'm going to start playing the video. Hopefully everything runs this time, because I'm going to lose my mind. I've had times where I've had microphones not working, headsets not working. I'm going to be honest. First time learning and using this OBS kind of software, figure out how everything goes. It is both easier and way harder than I thought it was going to be. Weirdly inconsistent. I thought I'd be able to set it up. I thought it'd be a lot more effort to get initially set up, and I thought once I'd be consistent. It has not been. So let me get started. I'm going to play a video while I draw, and it is going to be not this, not that. I started curious by this one. Never watched a video by Wise Words before, but we're going to give it a go. With 6 male personality types. Which one are you? I think we know which one I am, but let's find out. And won't you believe it, I can't hear my headset. Are you kidding me? I swear, this is absolutely gonna wreck my mind right now. I am so tired of this. So I'm still having audio issues. Which I tested this like right before starting a live feed. And I did a quick live feed, and it worked fine. But now, of course, we're having issues again, so go figure. Very annoying. Alright, I'm just gonna get started. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I really am seriously like losing my mind with some of this stuff. It's kind of amazing how annoying and difficult this could be. The last one I did the body, I had this sort of green looking clay. I think this time I'm going to do something more red and a little bit more natural feeling. Kind of like the cool, sort of, ugly and non-alive feeling of it. But yeah, this time I'm gonna do something a little more fleshy feeling. I've been using this lately since I started streaming this set, Sargent's Oils. It actually does mimic Sargent's painting style pretty well. It's kind of got that like fat, kind of oily, quickly applied sort of thing about it. Now you can make it like more thin and change the viscosity. You could make it seem like paint that's wet on wet. Actually, I need to take off the wetness here. Or you can make it feel like really thick paint, and it sort of just nails surprisingly like some of the textures and the feel of paint pretty well. Like it's not like it feels like it when you apply it, but it certainly gives off that sort of look. Although you're probably not seeing it yet. Where it kind of comes to life is when you start mixing it. Right now you sort of see some of that canvas texture, which is how it sort of kind of appears convincing here. It's not really what I care about, though. I sort of like how it works when you put it all together. You start mixing colors together with it. It's actually pretty incredible. I never really imagined I'd do this much digital drawing or painting. It's not been it's something I've done for at least definitely for 2 decades, like over 2 decades now. But the style of the work has changed so much given computing capacity and graphics ability. Because all the work used to be really very flat, and now you just have so much more potential to kind of play with different surfaces, create something extremely high res, something very convincing, both for screen and also they would be really cool and viable via print. So yeah, still I'm gonna take quick seconds here and there to sort of see what's going on. And yeah, I'm still not catching it. That's a shame. What I also wouldn't be surprised about is if somehow the stream can hear it, but I can't. But let me just try one more thing real quick, and we'll see if I can sort of get this working okay. Trying to turn the power off for this thing. So I imagine I just lost the... Yeah. Defaults.
Type of man that evades categorization according to traditional social hierarchies. These deep-thinking men.
Okay, so I'm gonna start playing this. I apologize, everybody. I'm gonna start playing this and then get going, and hopefully
most people
go back to the original video I had here.
About his life. Every man has unique personality traits that make him who he is and define his actions.
I gotta say, without even knowing, like who this is, or like listening to these sort of videos before, like, oof, the tone of this sounds pretty pretty cringe, but let's go.
Despite seemingly random acts and ways of going about life being the norm for all men, there are ways to categorize a man's actions into more specific traits and tendencies. There are mainly 6 unique male personalities: the alpha male, the beta male, the gamma male, the omega male, the delta male, and the sigma male. These classifications help us
Of course, the sigma male has a top bun. He kind of picks his nose, I guess, in the middle of the street. Cool.
Understand how and why a man lives his life the way he does. Let's see what each of these 6 unique personalities offers by observing their 4 most prevalent traits. Number 1. The alpha male. He is confident. The term alpha male is a term most people know, and for a good reason. The term alpha male originates from the animal kingdom as describing the top of the pack. Because of this classification, the alpha male is naturally going to be confident in how he acts.
Which apparently the whole alpha male being actually in the animal kingdom is actually kind of bullshit. FYI, like those initial research that like basically stated that alpha male is a thing that exists within wolves or within monkeys or apes. Not as solidly ground as one might think. It may actually be more complex than that. Shocking.
And goes about his life. Confidence is the ability to enter into a wide array of situations and know that you will make it through, no matter how adverse the situations are. Confidence is not a natural human tendency, and even an alpha male personality type becomes confident over time. He is outgoing. The confidence that an alpha male has is something that is clear from miles away. This means he can interact with just about anyone, and he allows his outgoing personality to him in life. An alpha male is unshaken when approaching a man or woman, as he has the skills and charm to talk to anyone. If an alpha male...
One thing I actually find very surprising is my concept of alpha male was never that, like, it's someone who's super confident or, like, talkative or sociable. It was always the perception that it was somehow, like, some... I guess what would be perceived as some sort of, like, Chad, like... football player, kind of like masculine big boy who can certainly, he does not necessarily have to rely on his attitude or his personality, but instead could sort of reflexively kind of act upon his own rigorous masculinity to like overcome things. Sort of like, I don't know, Joe Rogan, like a thumb, like some sort of best way to put it, like a meathead, essentially.
Wants to talk to someone, nothing can stand in his way. Being outgoing allows the alpha male to make more social connections and form relationships with greater efficiency than other personality types. He is a leader. When someone is asked to take the lead on a project at work, it is the alpha personality who takes charge and leadership. Many successful men in the world are considered alpha males because they are eager to lead others and have what it takes to ask others to follow them on their journey. Alpha males make such good leaders because they are naturally inspiring to others, and others are willing to follow them. An alpha male knows how to get a team working together to accomplish a goal. He is charismatic. Charisma is a trait that an alpha male exudes with nearly everything he does. Charisma is the sense of charm and swagger of a man whom everyone wants to know. Charismatic men act like a James Bond type character.
Okay, I think it's interesting that they said, like, acts like a James Bond character, because who in the world actually acts like that? Like, who in the world actually has, like, the swagger that everybody knows when he walks into the room? Like, oh, he's just so magnetic and gets, like, immediate attention. Like, does anyone know who exists like that? Unless you sort of, like, already built up some sort of cult personality. You know, if you're Steve Jobs and you're well respected and you walk into the room of tech guys, there's already like a primed audience for that, or a rock star, or, you know, like, I don't know anybody who's just sort of automatically, like, has these kind of traits that, you know, walk into a room like, whoa, absolutely stunned by them. Although maybe I'm somehow immune to that. Like, I've personally been in rooms with CEOs or team video calls or whatever. It's like, not that amazing. They're people. Like, it's, you know, they have good traits and bad. They have some shortcomings. Sometimes they're not always readily apparent. It's not certainly not how this is presenting anybody in the real world.
As they act and talk according to their own rules. The charisma that alpha males radiate is a primary reason that people gravitate towards them. A charismatic person is someone who is fun to be around and will naturally be popular with those who are searching for enjoyment from life. Number 2, the
I say one more thing, like, seems like this is my first, like, it's really my second, but it's my first video. It sort of seems like pro defining these things, and sort of like the pro categorization or this, like, identification of these certain traits. But getting this, it's like they're speaking about charisma as if it's like a character attribute in D&D or, you know, like Fallout, where, you know, oh, this guy just, like, rolled this fucking insane charisma score, and he's, like, critting 20s with all the ladies. He walks up to them, he's got the magic dialogue trait. It's just not very realistic.
Beta male. He is friendly.
Sounds
With
nice.
a lot of negativity surrounding the beta male personality, we need to understand that this very common personality type is nothing of which to be ashamed. A beta male is a man who is not a pushover or someone to look down on, but rather someone who is friendly and respects others. Being friendly is something that many people associate with the beta male personality. Whether it is towards a man or a woman, the beta male wants to be friendly and kind to everyone and hopes that he will gain the approval and admiration of others. He is reserved. One of the main traits associated with beta males is being reserved. This natural reservation
is friendly and reserved. Huh. This is sounding a bit like astrology, where you tie into contradictory traits together. Okay.
Is what leads people to think a beta male is shy and not willing to share his opinions. While it is true that some beta males are shy, many are just afraid to share their opinions openly. The reservation of the beta male is something that leads them to avoid many social interactions. Being reserved does not mean that beta males lack something to say, but it does mean that they are limited in how much influence their words or ideas can have.
Aww.
He is submissive. A signature characteristic of the beta male is being submissive and trying to avoid stepping on someone's toes. Being submissive means that when confronted with conflict or an opposing opinion, The beta male is likely to avoid defending himself, if this means that the other person will dislike him. While many views being submissive as a negative trait, there are times in which being submissive has its benefits. If you are dealing with someone who is just trying to argue with you, or start a fight, being submissive often makes them lose interest, and keeps the beta male safe.
What?
He is loyal. The last trait for the beta male, and one
keeps the beta male safe. Like it's like you're like the beta male's fighting a bear in the woods, like the alpha dog, and like the beta male just sort of hunches over and cries, pisses itself, keeps him safe. You know, that alpha male's gonna tear him apart. I don't know.
One of his biggest strengths is that he is very loyal. One reason why the beta male is a very good friend is that he is loyal to those who respect him and are friendly towards him. The loyalty of beta males also makes them great employees, because they are very likely to do their jobs and not interrupt the overall workflow structure. The beta male may not always speak his mind, but he will always be by his friend's side when he is needed. Number 3, the gamma male. He is adventurous. The gamma male is a very interesting character. He is seen as having a little bit of every other type of man combined in his personality, with no specific one of those personalities being dominant over the others. One of the main reasons for this is that the gamma male is one who is adventurous in life, and creates his own path away from the opinions of others. Where the alpha male acts in a way that pleases others, the gamma male will do whatever he wants to feel fulfilled in his life. Gamma males usually have a wide array of skills and interests, leading to them enjoying exploring life and learning, and doing as they please. He is eager. The gamma male is likely to be a person who is eager to get many things in life. On the side of the experience and enjoying what the world has to offer, the gamma male will be likely to want to try new things, and will be eager to learn new skills. In another sense, the gamma male is also somewhat eager to gain the affection of others. A gamma personality is one that can be independent of others, but is still eager to get the respect and admiration that others offer to them. He is aware. What helps the gamma male stand out among other types of men is his ability to be aware of his actions and how those actions affect others. This can also be his key to getting very far in his life. It is commonly thought that those who possess the characteristics of an alpha male can turn into more of a gamma male when they become more aware and conscious. The awareness of a gamma male is what allows him to be well-liked and independent at the same time. He is empathetic. Empathy has traditionally been seen as a feminine trait, so seeing a man act with a sense of empathy is interesting and perhaps somewhat atypical. The empathy experienced by a gamma male allows him to understand what others are going through, so that he can act as a sort of support system for others. With empathy towards others, many people will interpret the gamma male's feelings as a reassurance of their own situation or feelings, and they will embrace the gamma male. Overall, the gamma male is one, if not the most, level-headed male personality type. Number 4, the omega male.
Okay, first time I've ever heard of gamma male before. Pretty great, but you know, a little again a little silly on the whole chart of everything, because essentially it's like, oh well, what do we do with somebody who's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like a little bit of everything? You sort of plop them into another category. Doesn't seem like a very well integrated system. You have all these categories that are pretty defined, then you have one that's just like meh, like it's the bard class, master of nothing really, kind of flexible cheat code maybe, I don't know.
He is self-assured. Where the alpha male relies on his group for reassurance of his character and status, the omega male acts completely opposite of that, with little regard for how he is seen by others. Because of this, the omega male's sense of self-assurance allows him to avoid trivial popularity contests. An omega male will definitely have a few close friends he trusts and respects, but his primary source of meaning and confidence comes from within. A downside to this is that an omega male often neglects to care for others, as they only know how to care for themselves. He is driven. With so much internal power to move him forward,
What?
you are likely going to see an Omega male being driven to do what he wants. He is his own best cheerleader, and will give himself all the motivation he needs to take action, or succeed at completing a task. Other men are likely only going to want to get something done, or take on a task, if there is some extrinsic level of gratification or a reward. For the Omega male, the tasks that drive him from within will be all the motivation he needs to see that something is handled. He is intelligent. The typical nerd archetype is something you can see among Omega males, as they are very focused on intelligence and learning. An Omega male is someone who can breeze through complex algorithms and formulas to crack a code that others are often far too aloof to understand. Where many men will just talk on and on without thinking about what they are saying, or listening to the other person, the Omega male is going to listen with intent, and can make calculated decisions on how to respond. Omega males are something like a human calculator. He has diversified interests. Going along with the somewhat nerdy focus of Omega males, they are often going to be engaged with things like video games, as well as more obscure hobbies. Things like building models and hobbies that stimulate the mind are just what an Omega male would love to spend time doing. If an Omega male wants to take on a hobby that everyone else feels uncomfortable trying due to social pressure, the Omega male will just do whatever he wants.
Way to go,
The
Omega
lack
male.
of care for external validation gives the Omega male a sense of freedom to do whatever he wants in his own way. Number 5. The Delta male. He is resigned. The Delta male offers a unique perspective into the way a person can change a
Alright, before we get into Delta male, Omega male, nerd. Okay. Okay. It's a little bit simplistic, but what do you expect from this? Of course it is.
personality type, as the Delta male is usually someone who has gone through an experience that has caused him to change into a Delta male. Whatever the experience may be, a Delta male will become more reserved because of it. Whether he went through a bad breakup, or has developed trust issues in the
Oh boy. I'm seeing incel on this one. Actually, incels never had girlfriends, but you can sort of see the strain of trust issues. The world's working against them. They're acting out. Yeah, and this is kind of fascinating one, because all the other ones it's like they're made, they're born that way. But this one's like they're made, not born. All right, let's learn more about Delta males. Let's go.
past. A Delta male will be slow to trust new people, as he is often very reserved. There is a sense of not caring, in that he does not have any thoughts on how to act as his own person. He is resentful. Going alongside their tricky past that has made them not get close to others, Delta males are often harboring some amount of resentment towards others. The Delta male will very rarely look inward to resolve issues, as he looks to others to blame for his problems. A Delta male will be resentful to a person he used to date, or was friends with, in an unhealthy manner. Instead of moving on with life and growing as a person, the Delta male will use this person as an excuse to remain unhappy and unproductive in his own life. He is self-sabotaging. The Delta male often lacks the reality of life, that you need to often deal with problems yourself.
The reality
By
of
placing
life.
the blame on others for his problems, the Delta male will self-sabotage himself by living under the illusion that there is nothing he can do to become better. If he is in a group of friends, the Delta male is likely to act manipulative or lie to get what he wants.
Come on,
Doing
man.
this with the few people that want to hang out with him, the Delta male makes it very easy for people not to trust or want to be around him. He is lonely. When it comes down to it, the Delta male is very likely to be a lonely person. While he may have once been the life of the party with many friends, the Delta male has turned into something bad. And letting himself get hateful towards others and losing self-control, the loneliness set.
It's pretty rare to have any sort of personality type, as far as I can understand in psychology, where someone is like bad. It's like, oh, here's a personality type, you're bad. Even the sociopathy and the psychopathy test, which is rooted in science, like that actually doesn't necessarily state that, like, oh, if you rank high on sociopathy, that you're necessarily like bad. There actually could be some benefits to, in some ways, having sociopathic behavior. If you're sort of very, like, well attuned to the things you're doing, there are certainly strengths to that, whether it's in business, making calculated decisions without sort of letting personal interference get in the way. But you know, it's bad when it, like, affects your ability to, like, live your life or, like, have a functional life. But yeah, you never classify a lot of these sort of generalized traits as, like, bad. So none of this is obviously very scientific.
That's in. The loneliness of a delta male will lead him to only become more resentful and angrier at others as he feels his loneliness is someone else's fault. Number 6, the sigma male. He is cunning.
Oh, here we go.
You should be cautious of sigma males, as they can just as easily convince you of something that nobody else could. They don't share the presence or power of an alpha male, but they can just as easily get their way thanks to their immense cunning and ability to manipulate people and situations. Whether you see it as a...
Okay, so this sounds interesting to me so far, because, like, the last video I sort of watched when I was drawing my other beautiful, much, I think actually more beautiful butt than this one. This one's looking okay, but I just don't think it lives up to the initial butt I had. You know, your first butt is always the best. But when I watched that first video, I was super surprised with, like, how sort of sigma males, as you start describing them, and as alluring and as much as weird dudes on the internet seem to think that they are sigma males and want to be sigma males, they seem they seem like psychopaths. They seem like sociopaths. I know I said sociopaths aren't necessarily bad people, but they could be, and the sort of lack of empathy and the disengagement with people and with the world, as much as I engage in that myself, it's fairly dangerous to do, and not any sort of lifestyle that I think anybody should be encouraging of. And the fact that this is, like, talking about how, like, they can be cunning, they can be liars, they can manipulate you, sounds pretty bad. Sounds like something you don't want, and which I'm a little surprised to hear in this video, but yeah, maybe there's something to learn from this after all.
Positive or a negative, the cunning of a sigma male is undeniable. They are able to get almost anyone on their side, and are great at persuasion. Being a cunning sigma male can help open many doors, if you are careful not to be too cunning with others. He is self-confident. Just as he can manipulate a social situation and the people in it, the sigma male deep down has no invested interest in the opinions of others. Sigma males are certainly popular with others, but they do not need the approval of others to feel good and reassured about themselves. You can almost think of the sigma male as someone like a James Dean character who doesn't play by the rules and is fine being alone, even when they are alone.
Again, there are examples here: James Bond, James Dean. Aside from them being Jameses, seem to emphasize, in a lot of ways, fictional characters. I know James Dean was a real actor, but, you know, fairly, aside from the characters he played, fairly disengaged from people. Seems kind of mysterious. There's an allure to that, but it's not to say that, like, he's a leader or he's particularly, like, popular in a way that, like, he can influence, engage with people, and create meaningful relationships.
The sigma male is perfectly happy with themselves. He is likable. Unless you are very good at seeing through the charm and manipulation of a sigma male, he is a...
And real quick, like, he just mentioned James Dean. Was James Dean likable? Like, I loved Rebel Without a Cause when I was in college. Was he likable? wasn't really likable. He's kind of maybe a dick, kind of reactive, kind of moody, possibly like interesting. Like maybe there's something like behind the surface of him that's interesting, but he was kind of just a good-looking, fashionable guy who probably you wouldn't spend too much time with, like, or spend too much time alone with. I don't know. That's my take.
A very likable person. People appreciate that they are not afraid to play by their own rules, and are not constantly searching for social validation as a lesser person would. These types of men are often going to associate with the alpha and omega personalities, as they can all get along at the top in their own ways. The likability and cunning actions of the Sigma male are enough to often get him in whatever friend group or situation in which he wants to be. He is calculated. The final piece of the Sigma male puzzle is his ability to make calculated moves and decisions with great accuracy. He will often pause before reacting to questions, so that he can come up with a reason that is either well-spoken or funny, if the situation calls for it. He is intentional with everything he does, and very little will catch a Sigma male off.
Who in the world is intentional with every single thing they do? Does that exist? Does that actually really exist? I don't know anyone who's ever been intentional with everything they do. I'm just trying to think about that real quick, like for real. Not to toot my own horn, but like I've known smart people, but people slip up, and also just in like the normal flow and sort of manner of conversation, like not everything is ultra calculated. Not everybody like talks like Sam Harris. There's something like if you're thinking about every single word you say, it actually seems pretty strange. You seem like kind of a weirdo. I tend to talk a little bit slow. I tend to talk in sometimes much too like considered manner, where I slow myself down, take a breath, think about it. And even that, like, yeah, I don't think about every single thing I say. You can't calculate all the time, especially given complex social interactions. It's just not how social interactions play out.
Off guard. People will often find a Sigma male to be a more intelligent and funny man, as he is witty with what he says, and rarely just speaks without thinking to help increase his overall likability.
It's weird.
So that's it, guys. From the alpha male to the Sigma male, every male personality is unique in its own way. These personalities can determine how different men will react in social and business settings alike. You can use your personality.
I don't think he demonstrated that at all in this video. I don't know how. Aside from maybe betas being likable and easy, and alphas trying to, perceive themselves as the confident leaders who walk into the room and swoon, and then there's like the manipulators. Like, it doesn't really give you actually any advice of how to like communicate to the different kinds of people. There's nothing in here that would dictate how I would talk to one person versus someone else. I didn't get any sort of insights around like how any of this is actually functional in or at all instructive about how to handle social interactions with other people who may not have your manner of interacting with the world. There's something called like love languages in relationships, where people sort of communicate in different ways. They need different things. They find value and they find care by at times doing different things. And you could sort of like learn, and you could sort of dig at that and sort of figure that out. And then you could react to that and figure out like how to, sometimes move forward in relationships that are sort of a little stuck, because you're communicating in different ways, and you're sort of expecting different things out of the other person and expecting them to communicate in a way that might not be comfortable to them. But there are ways of learning how to do that and engage and build. And this video certainly didn't give like any indication of how to interact with the gamma male, or if you're a beta and you want to run an idea by an alpha, I would have no idea how to do that based off of what was presented here.
Type to thrive in life, and understanding others will help you better interact and make future connections. Comment down below which personality type are you. Subscribe to my channel for more videos.
The idea that you'd be able to self-identify so easily, like what kind of type you are, and just again shows that another major flaw around around this sort of like categorization and pop psychology. It doesn't actually provide any kind of like real guidance. Okay.
Those like this. I will see you all in the next video. Peace.
Also, the tone of the person that was doing this video, maybe it's because they were reading off a script, but it felt also just like very personally disconnected. And I wouldn't be surprised if males like him probably get some try to get some like surface level utility out of these sort of guidelines. I could understand why that could be the case, because if you don't understand people, you sort of create like a simple rubric or sort of a standardized, like identifiable set of criteria that you could build around to help heighten and build off of your social interactions if you're really, really bad at them. The problem is that, again, social interactions are much more complex than this. And people are more complex than this. And trying to take individuals and sort of put them down into these paths generally is not going to be a worthwhile effort of your time. I think there are like better sort of general rules, like how to communicate with people and how to build relationships with people, even ones that you seem to have issues communicating with, that you could apply across the board without sort of like trying to do some sort of clinical analysis of what kind of males they are and how they sort of break down in the social hierarchy of male power dynamics. Doesn't really, like, if I spent like all my effort trying to like pinpoint who's who and then identify terminologies that way versus just sort of identifying like and sort of realizing like what people want, males and females, what kind of methods do they communicate by, what do they have values in, how do they handle difficult situations, how do they communicate difficult situations, identifying those sort of like things in a person, I think is way more important than this sort of categorization. I just don't think it has any real value to it. Although I am a little bit curious now about how to unleash my Sigma male, even though it seems like Sigma males are kind of dipshit assholes. But let's see what this goes. Let's see where this goes. I'm probably gonna stop it early.
Male. You also know him as the lone wolf, or that mysterious guy who backpacks across the country on his own. It seems we are here.
Oh, that guy who backpacks across the country, that mysterious man. Do you know who that? Have you ever met a mysterious man who's backpacking across the country? Have you met that man? What's his name? Again, I mean these people don't really exist. The creepy hobo. Oh, the creepy hobo that's been traveling interstate lines for a while now. Oh, he must have been Sigma male. Yeah, totally. It just doesn't make sense. It's not actually applied. This is fantasy ideation.
Hearing more about this type of guy these days. And no, these are not men who only kept themselves company because of the recent pandemic. They have always marched to the beat of their own drum. Their lives are not significantly affected by how others ship.
Also, this took me a second to realize, because when I first heard the speaking, I'm like, well, that's a interesting male voice. I didn't realize it was TTS. So you start realizing over time, you listen a little closely to it, it's robotic. So the person who made this video does not have the conviction of their own voice. It's clearly like very so Sigma that they weren't confident about the sound of their own voice, which I hate mine, by the way, but here I am.
Shift around them. A Sigma man is his own man. We've heard about the alpha male. He is brash and loud, and is obviously the boss of the pack. Then, there is the beta, capable but willing to take the sidelines. So, who is this Sigma guy? How does he fare against the two more popular categories? Can you be a Sigma? Well, here is the ultimate guide to the Sigma male, for scenting the lone wolf inside you. But first, we need to understand what is a Sigma male. Most people...
Real quick, this sort of romanticizing about being a lone wolf. Who wants to be, I mean, who really wants to be a lone wolf? What are the benefits of being a lone wolf? Like, we are social creatures. We want love, attention, appreciation, respect. Being a lone wolf is essentially to say, like, you're a castaway, and I don't need much social interaction myself, but, you know, to set yourself adrift, to set yourself apart, and be a lone wolf is actually like absolute misery. If your goal is to like isolate yourself, it's worse than joining a cult where you're isolating yourself with like a limited number of people. You are basically shoving yourself in solitary confinement, which is probably the worst thing you could do for your mental health. So if anybody's ever listens to this and thinking that they're a lone wolf, they want to be a lone wolf, think twice about it. Seriously, it's not a way to be.
We'll categorize men into two neat groups, the alpha and the beta male. However, not every man falls under these two well-known types. To put things simply, the term Sigma male actually stands for an introverted alpha male who lives his life his own way. He has numerous characteristics of both types, and has actually gotten the best traits of an alpha male and a beta male. A Sigma man has much more to offer than it might appear at first glance. You just have to dig under the layers because this guy's personality is way...
Okay, this guy, whoever made this video, is clearly kind of red-pilled on identifying that Sigma male is the best. Basically, the attribute is it's the best of both worlds, the best of the beta, the best of the alpha, the superior Sigma superiorium or something. It's just like it's just ridiculous.
More complex than you might assume. He doesn't like being the center of attention, and that's why you will never see a Sigma male approaching a girl first, or doing something funny that will make everyone look at him. At first, this might make you think he is uninteresting, but later on, as you crush his walls one by one, and as you keep on getting to know him better, you'll see that this can't be further from the truth.
Why would anyone want to get to know this person versus a lone wolf? They don't stand out in any meaningful way. There's no reason to get to know them. I guess somehow people are supposed to be magically attracted to this guy. I don't get it. Oh, we got some loading issues. Great.
Have you heard of the Sigma?
No.
You also know him as the lone wolf, or that mysterious guy. Says they are part of a team. And finally, number 7. Sigma males have natural charisma. A Sigma male is naturally charismatic without even trying. He does not hate people, but is just comfortable with his lone wolf status. His independence and self-sufficiency allow him to be such. Women want to get to know him better because of this air of mystery. He is silent but confident. You can see it in the way that he holds himself. Are Sigma males rare? Society expects dominance and power from men. So, sometimes even the betas and sigmas are forced to conform.
Does society demand dominance and power? I know we talk about like Darwinistic societies and stuff. That's not really what we live under. I disagree with that. There's just so many ways of being in the world. So many ways of success. So many ways to categorize success and to evaluate oneself. That, yeah, the idea that domination is the central theme to progress in the world just doesn't seem accurate.
In their corporate structures, Sigmas would still be found sitting in a corner, possibly contributing an idea or two, but not really relishing being the center of attention. They are more challenging to pin this way because betas may also step back to let the alphas do all the talking. With the advent of flexible job setups, Sigmas are finally free to rub off their corporate sheen. They are more likely to get into the groove of the lifestyle they genuinely prefer without being encumbered by societal expectations. Sigma male and symbols. The Sigma male is often compared to a lone wolf. He stays on his own, away from the pack, but is still fierce and mysterious. The Sigma is powerful enough to fend for himself.
What makes someone fierce? I mean, I can understand, like, someone possibly being mysterious based off the answers, inputs, social interactions. This idea that you're a wolf, literally, like, taking traits of wolves. Who have you ever known who's fierce? Like an MMA fighter? I don't know. I've boxed, I've kickboxed, I've like grappled with people, like training for fights. They're usually really nice. Like, I don't know if I've ever identified someone as being like fierce. Unless it's sort of in that jokey Tyra Banks kind of America's Next Top Model kind of way of fierce, you know. I've never described anyone like that before.
And to attack if there is a need. Unlike the alpha, he does not need a pack to follow him around to feel good about himself.
This guy just stabbing people?
Sigma male and zodiac signs.
Come on.
There is not one zodiac sign that is strictly associated with the Sigma male. However, a couple of zodiac signs have close enough characteristics to define what a Sigma acts like. Scorpio. Scorpios are not your typical confident and friendly guy. Yes.
The fact that they're now bringing together the zodiac chart with Sigmas, it makes it just like all the more just goofy and sort of psychological snake oil for gullible people who need some clarity or sort of confidence in their life when they don't have any. It's just sad. It's really sad.
They are self-confident, but they are also mysterious and not too impressed with authority. This does not mean that they are bad boys, but they are just content with what they have made of their lives. Capricorn. Capricorns are confident loners. They are aware of their intelligence, but it is not something that they will flaunt. They are kind and willing to help even if they do not recognize what they do. Leos and Sagittarians may also possess self-assurance, but they lean more towards being alphas. Again, there are no limitations on what type of zodiac sign you should have to be a Sigma. The two above are just the closest if we have to focus on the strict descriptions. Sigma versus other social hierarchy personalities. Sigmas have been previously compared to alphas earlier in this video. But what about betas, omegas, and deltas? How do Sigma males fare against other personality types?
Who is in a fight?
Males versus alpha males. Sigma males may not be as loud and dominant as the alpha male, but they are every bit as confident and capable.
I'm sorry, which one? I love this. Hold on, I just gotta bring this up a little bit. Let's just increase this real quick. Which So which of these guys is the alpha, which is the sigma? I'm guessing it's a sigma male has an earring, right? That's just amazing. That's absolutely amazing. What a doofus. Okay. No offense if your earrings, but like this guy just looks a little extra to me. I don't know.
They can be leaders, but they do not like taking on roles to put them in the middle of a group or pack. They do not have a clique or tribe like the alpha male.
Guy was doing a black belt bow in the middle of a, I don't know, Bushwick warehouse with no one there, no pads on the floor. Not really a good training place, bud. Doesn't really add up.
Among the other personality types, the Sigma
Guy also looked brand new. That was a stiff-looking Guy, huh?
is the one with the ability to challenge the alpha for social dominance. However, he chooses not to most of the time. Sigma males versus beta males. Sigma males may just be as quiet as beta males. Both types do not have a problem with being silent in a corner. However, the beta male is part of the pack. He is content with his own thoughts but does not have problems being part of a group. Some may mislabel him as a bottom feeder, but the beta is simply more in touch with his emotions. The sigma male is also introspective, but he is more confident than the beta male. He also does not want to be a part of the social hierarchy. Sigma males versus omega males. The omega male and sigma male are similar because they are both self-reliant and confident in what they can bring to the table. However, the omega male is not entirely a loner. He does have a small group of friends that he can confide in, while the sigma goes on his own.
Based off of that description, why wouldn't the big thing that everybody be aspirational for be omega males? Just saying, hey, you're sensitive, you're sort of emotionally developed, people like you, you're adventurous, but you keep it, you keep your clan small. You have a tiny little friend group, right? And you're really close. And it's everything's really trusted. That seems really healthy and balanced. Why the extremes? Why do people want to be a sigma? Jeez.
Sigma males versus delta males. While a sigma male may refuse to be part of the social structure of personality types, the delta male is resentful. He may have been part of that structure, or is still part of it, but he is not happy with his life experiences. You may even see him with the pack, but he is the one that often looks sullen and resigned to his fate. On the other hand, a sigma male has chosen his place in society.
Jesus.
He doesn't care if people within the pack will accept him or not.
Sigma
males in love and friendship. The sigma male may be a loner, but it does not mean to say that he plans to be alone forever. He is naturally comfortable on his own and may not directly seek companionships, but he welcomes the possibility when it comes. He approaches love and friendship at his own terms. Do sigma males fall in love? A sigma is a normal man with healthy wants and desires. He can fall in love, of course. It is essential.
How is he a normal man with normal wants and desires? I take it to mean he probably means sexually in this video. Because he has no other normal wants and desires as far as having friends, sort of fitting in, developing relationships, just no drive, just wants to be a lone wolf, which none of that seems particularly healthy or useful or sensible in any normal functional society.
To understand that sigma males are every bit the equal of alpha males in the socio-sexual hierarchy. However, he has purposely placed himself outside of the structure. This makes him even more attractive to some women because he confidently carries himself without blatantly using his charms. The sigma male can undoubtedly fall in love. He also aspires a woman. In fact, he is so serious about it that he is not out there playing games. A sigma is more old-fashioned in his views of love. However, take note that he will not actively seek love and lust. He lets it come to him. Do sigma males have friends? Like an omega male, the sigma male can have a few friends. However, he does.
quick note on the work I've been doing. So, initially I sort of like did the spine, did the head, kind of figured out the shape of the main torso, which I kept functionally like mostly in proportion. Basically did the most of the shapes, and then I sort of blocked in a mid-tone on top of this ground, and then I slowly started like working more and more both kind of lights with like little dabs kind of the darks and some already on kind of a mid-tone to sort of help define some of the edges, some of the shapes, maybe some of the folds, but also just sort of like pull to the surface a lot of that flesh. So the butt is starting to look pretty good now. It's a pretty nice looking butt. I sort of defined some of the extras, like 1 second. Like there's some extra muscle I'm kind of defining here too, like right here. It's kind of unique, as well as some like some things around the thigh, muscles here, muscles around the calf, for instance. Trying to start sketching the shape of the toes a little bit, even though these are kind of looking a little bit flat because of the thickness of the line here. All these things that kind of get worked on, and sort of adapted as you sort of like bring out your highlights, and then reestablish the edge of the tone. But over time, I usually do, especially in painting, you usually do less and less sort of like etching in the black, and then typically in oils, you work more and more into like the lights, the whites. Those paints tend to be a little bit thicker. They tend to be slower to dry. And just even in like the general oil painting process, how you normally go about it, you don't want to do dark, fast-drying washes on top of whites. So that's just generally how I work. You kind of lift the light out more and more, and then you sort of refine the drawing less and less over time. But it's a process. I think I'm going to try to get through the rest of this pretty quickly, and then I'm going to call it a night. Hopefully this thing all works out okay, but I'll check that out shortly.
Does not see it as a necessity but a choice. Sigma males and their career paths. The Sigma male is associated with not being part of the pack, so it is challenging to imagine him as part of a large company. You may see him more as an independent worker who can set up his tools wherever he goes. This does not mean that he does not have ambition. He actually has a more substantial chance of succeeding, being an evolved version of the alpha. He is flexible enough to work in various setups and fields. He can easily be the leader, but a more strategic and quieter one. Sigma males already show quiet efficiency even when they are still at school. What motivates the Sigma male?
Just another quick point, because it keeps getting me. The idea that's an evolved alpha. The idea that you could be a leader without influencing or bringing people together in some way. What leader? Do you know any leaders who like just don't bring people together? Oh, he's a leader, but he leads himself. What? I understand like the concept of mavericks. You can imagine Elon Musk, some way maverick, form these sort of help form these companies to do these very like seemingly impossible big things. But he actually literally does lead people. He leads shareholders. He leads people who buy his products, people who buy Teslas. He leads conversations with NASA. He leads like product conversation. Like, he actually does lead people. I don't know. I've never met someone who's like a leader who doesn't lead people. Bizarre.
You are more likely to find a Sigma male challenging an alpha for leadership if he sniffs some corruption at play. While he will mostly shun being a public figure, he will set that aside in his quest to balance power and authority. He is motivated with reasons that make a difference in the world. So, it does not matter if the position is under the limelight or on the sidelines. That is...
Sounds like you're describing QAnon. Like QAnon is, trying to blow whistles and corruption and like has, you know, doesn't want to take up the authority but has to in times of struggle. Doesn't exist. Fictional.
Not his focus. His focus is on what goals he is meeting by doing his job. A Sigma likes to make a difference. He is likely to work as a rebel going against a corrupt regime. How to be a Sigma male. At this point, you will know if you are a Sigma male or not. If you are a Sigma, chances are you just want to confirm a suspicion. On your own, though, you do not really care about labels. If you are not a Sigma, you may now be interested in becoming one. After all, who does not want to become a mysterious and attractive version of the Alpha? These days, Alphas are becoming a dime a dozen, battling each other for a place on top. They bombard social media with posts on their thoughts.
I thought the whole trait of Alphas is that there aren't that many of them and they're super charismatic. Okay.
On the other hand, people cannot wait to know what a Sigma male is thinking. After all, people still believe that silent waters run deep, which is the Sigma's case. Can you become a Sigma male? Yes, you can attempt to be one. Becoming one, however, is fueled by years of experience. And you see, sometimes schoolboys are not expected to manifest as Sigmas. People expect boys to act a certain way, but some already take their quiet stand early on. Being a Sigma is not something you can force, but you can probably awaken the latent Sigma in you. Here are some ways to incorporate a Sigma character.
Oh boy.
1. Accept yourself. Know that you don't have to be always the focus. 2. Practice not caring about what others think. 3. If you are masquerading as a beta, shed that mask. You can be quietly confident. 4. Choose your friends wisely. Stick with the chosen few. 5. Learn to listen.
Lone Wolf.
When you do, you realize that you learn more that way rather than by talking. 6. Be self-reliant. Build up skills that will better help you survive on your own. And 7. Be more in touch with your inner self. Spend some time reflecting and meditating. Famous Sigma males. You don't really get to know real people deep inside, not like popular characters. With book or film characters, you know the main character's motivations and thoughts. Here are some Sigma males in popular media. Clint Eastwood's Joe in A Fistful of Dollars.
Fake.
X-Men's Wolverine. Tyler Durden, the soapmaker in The Fight Club.
No.
Han Solo in Star Wars. And Batman. In real life, some people suggest that Keanu Reeves is one. He could be strong enough to be alpha, but he paves his own way mostly alone. It is pretty refreshing, considering that alpha males usually populate Hollywood. The Sigma male is your typical lone wolf. He is independent,
Wait, I'm so confused. There's like a Hollywood jab. I don't like LA, but most people in Hollywood are alphas. Does that carry? I always had the perception from the right, which seems like this is definitely right tilting, is that was that people in Hollywood and in media were beta males. Good old Jesse Lee Peterson calling all the people, all the lefties in media beta males. So interesting. It's news to me.
self-sufficient, confident, and strong enough to be alpha. He lets possible mates come to him, just like he does with friends and career opportunities.
Okay.
When these things come to him, however, he can be easily good at them. He is flexible, a mysterious chameleon who can just take on a role that he feels strongly about. You can motivate him with a mission or a crusade, where he will feel compelled to take part despite his qualms about being part of the social hierarchy. So that's it, guys. Hope you understood the concepts of Sigma male personality type. Comment down below, are you a Sigma male or not? Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. I will see you all in the next video. Until then, this is Wise Words. Peace.
Okay. So I kind of want to make my drawing. I just took a big old Duke after watching that. I think I do want to watch more of these kind of some of these videos. That was a lot. I think just throw this is the place I've had. Just like throw all this in the toilet. It's absolutely garbage trash that doesn't actually provide useful inputs and tangible sort of reactions to anything. It encourages people's lamest, I think, kind of impulses around who they would like to be, who they see themselves as. And it does not admire and encourage, I think, those qualities that lead to a functional, positive family life, household, environment, politic, society. If we had a whole bunch of sociopath Sigma males running around trying to manipulate things, the world would be a very dangerous place. I'm gonna cut this short. I'm just gonna compare my butts real quick. I gotta say, I do like the scrunch squish of my first green butt, although the brown one has some nice qualities as well. So before I head out, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Again, my name's Stephen Ketchum. I am an artist and designer who is spending my time drawing, listening to the videos I might normally listen to, with you as an audience, me reacting to the stuff while I draw all sorts of potentially silly or beautiful things. Please like and subscribe. In the description for this video, you'll see a link to my Patreon, Instagram. Follow me on all the stuff. And I'll be back again here soon.